Welcome to Smartphone Nation, brought to you by Omidyar Network India. This is a podcast where we talk about how the next half billion are shaping the future online.
The next half billion, or the NHP, are the core of this podcast. They represent the second big wave of internet users in India, hence the term next. We define them as the cohort of 500 million first time internet users who have come online via their mobile phones in the last 5 years.
From a demographic standpoint, they are mainly from the bottom 60% of India's income distribution. They are owners of small businesses like beauty salons and kirana shops, and also blue collar workers, domestic workers, security guards, etc. They are building a greater comfort with tech and represent the hustle and ambition of an aspiring India.
Today, we're going to look at how Digivriddhi or DGV became a one stop shop for the financial and non financial needs of India's dairy farmers. The company enables them to seamlessly access banking services at milk collection points through customized financial products. We have the founder, MD, and CEO, Mr. Ragavan Venkatesan, with us today to talk about his story of impact. So, welcome to our show, Mr. Ragavan. Thanks for being with us
Thanks
today.
for thanks for having me here.
Yeah, I'm going to introduce you to my co-host Utsav from Bangalore, and
Hi,
I'm
Lisa.
Niveditha. I'm from Mumbai, and you're also from Navi Mumbai. So this is
That's right.
gonna be fun. Before we begin, I just wanted to ask you to tell us something about Digivriddhi and what you do, or DGV. Uh, for people who are unfamiliar, uh, what does DGV do?
Right. Thanks, Nivedita.
Yeah.
See, we call it DGV.
Mhm.
The company's name is Digivriddhi Technologies Private Limited, but people often found it very difficult to pronounce Digivriddhi. DG obviously for digital and Vriddhi means growth. And we were all about how to create tools to help the medium and micro enterprises in this country use India Stack. And that's why we call it Digivriddhi. But in short, we call it DGV.
Mhm.
Now, basically, DGV deals in creating an ecosystem where dairy farmers and dairy micro enterprises can access banking, financial services, insurance in a very simple way, what we call BFSI.
Hmm.
So basically, we play a conduit role between the financial institutions, insurance companies, and the dairy ecosystem. The dairy ecosystem meaning the dairy processors meaning the likes of Amul, Nandini, Aven, those kinds. And of course, the farmers under them who day in, day out, procure and put the milk and for the processors to create various value-added products. Now, in this ecosystem, um, we specialize in creating products and processes in such a way that this target audience is able to get access to, say, a cattle loan or procurements, what they need in their day-to-day lives in a very easy way. So internally, DGB is segmented into three strategic business units, what we call DGV Pay, DGV Money, and DGV Connect. And each of these strategic business units addresses each part of this entire gamut of services to help them get it very easily. That's what DGB is all about.
Right. So, what is it that inspired you, or what gap did you see in the dairy industry that inspired you to focus only on that business area and not others?
Yeah, so see, most of us at DGV are people who have built what today is popularly called India Stack.
Mm-hmm.
So I was particularly championing the Aadhaar-based payments at NPCI, and most of us are ex-NPCI guys who had respectively built either the RuPay card scheme or been part of the R&D team of NPCI and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, when we saw dairy, we clearly understood that dairy is one such segment which has a very steady cash flow. Now, typically, I post my NPCI days, I was the founding member of IDFC Bank as well, and I founded the bank's rural banking division. Uh, Very clearly, very early on, we figured out that if you want to do priority sector, in India, which is the essentially the agri sector, it is very tough to do because of the lack of digital footprints, because of lack of underwriting capabilities of banks to understand the various kinds of cash flows these farmers have,
Hmm.
which is what becomes the premise to give them a loan or to do give any services. Now, in the case of dairy, here being a perishable commodity, the the consistency was on a daily basis, and that means that the ability to pay them was far more consistent than a regular agriculture crop like paddy, sugarcane, where it has to go through a 3 to 4 month cycle before it can be harvested, and then it
Mm.
is subject to seasonality of rains and many other things as well. So that way, dairy is far more predictable in terms of cash flow. It's recurring in nature, which is a very good sign for a banker. So if you can predict the cash flows, then you are in a better position to give the loans or these services. The second most important thing was that this statistic was very glaring. That in India, our three major crops are sugarcane, rice, and wheat. They collectively don't contribute as much as to the India's agri GDP as much as dairy does. So we are talking of dairy contributing anything between 25 to 30% of India's agri GDP, which is equal to 5% of our national GDP. So that's the quantum dairy contributes, and very few people know it. Uh, so if you see there is such a lot of contribution per se, but the budgetary allocation when it comes to the agri budget, it gets a measly 2% to 2.5%, which this government has corrected. So they
Mm.
have created a separate ministry of animal husbandry and fishery, and they are giving it the necessary impetus so that this can actually form a large part of the farmer disposable income. Now, when all these constituents were coming together, we felt that this is the right time that if we are a dairy focused fintech and a marketplace which is like hyper focused on this mass market, then we can do justice. Typically, what happens is like bankers, and I cannot blame them because I have been one myself, we come across a number of profiles of farmers or anybody. Like, say, for example, you want to go and open a savings account in a
Mm.
bank branch. They will not ask you where do you work or what's your occupation, because irrespective of whether you are a farmer or you are a producer, you will be given these are my savings account. These are the features, like you will get these many transactions free. You should keep this with your minimum balance. So the bank's approach is this is my product, you fit in, versus a DGV's approach where we understand the TG, we understand the cash flow, we understand the pain points, we create the product, process, and we streamline this into a BFSI stakeholder without disturbing their legacy systems and anything, and are getting the best of both worlds for the audience. And that is why DGV, kind of a dairy fintech and a marketplace, is able to collaborate with all the stakeholders and bring the best of everything to the farmers and the microenterprises.
Right, but running a company in itself has its own ups and downs and everything. And I know DGV was started in 2019, and the next year, in 2020, there was a pandemic. Did you face any issues with that type of unpredictable thing happening?
I think I faced even more jolt in 2019 itself when I first took the call to become an entrepreneur. So leaving a very nice cushy job, a bank's job with a steady income, with every 30th you have a ton SMS coming in and your salary is there. You don't have to think much. To becoming an entrepreneur. So that itself was a very big moment for me. And I think once I took that plunge, Then every small ups and down became a part of routine. Uh, so definitely not an easy call, uh, but no regrets. And of course, when one reads the economic times and the startup page, everybody feels it is so, sexy to be, to be known as an entrepreneur. Um, and I often get asked this question by my VC community: what made me do this? And I'm very happy that the community is actually maturing now, and
Mhm.
it values some amount of gray hair, experience, project management, ability to manage a team. You should be a good listener, be empathetic towards how every employee is contributing to the company. So I think over a period of time, I've figured out that it is not going to be a cakewalk,
Mhm.
and I've started to enjoy the ups and downs. So it started with me, then I got the core team, and they also took time to get acclimatized to this new environment. But eventually, now everyone sees as the problem as an opportunity. Every time we hit a roadblock while we did this project, and there are daily issues. But I think we started enjoying it. So that's what keeps us motivated.
That's great that you said that you see every problem as an opportunity. Because I want to add to that. Do you remember any specific story that comes to mind where something went wrong, but you were able to solve it easily, or the team came together and brought about a really good solution to it?
So 2019 December we incorporated. 31st March I find myself in a freeze mode. I am staring at COVID.
Yeah.
So it was a very small team. I think we were about 7 to 8 people that time only. So we were supposed to do primary research on the field to
Hmm.
discover. So we had just bagged Amul. February end we had bagged Amul, and March we were supposed to conduct our primary research uh, in the various mill societies of Gujarat to understand the nuances of what the TG exactly wanted. They had given a problem statement, which was to help them streamline the milk payments to farmers to overcome the TDS issue which the government of that time had announced. But apart from that, we wanted to delve deeper into what are the other pain problems. And by 31st of March, we couldn't continue our primary research, so we had to quickly pivot to a digital questionnaire, which was vernacular, um, make all the secretaries of the mill societies understand what it we wanted, and in their limited reach, ask the farmers what they wanted, which became a two-pronged strategy. Suddenly, we had to empower them digitally, at the same time, make our survey effective. So that was one thing. I mean, the problem was the solution in some sort. It forced them to go digital. It forced them, and anyway, our project was about digitalizing the value chain of the dairy. So they were forced to kind of embrace this, which actually helped in the longer term. This was one thing. The second thing, internally, we decided, okay, we had to anyway invest a large part of our time building the platforms, the tech, which can be done sitting at home. So we flipped to doing that, and that's how the first part of the platform, what we call DGV Pay, which was to streamline the payments to farmers, understand from where the payment is originating, from the milk processor to the society, from the society to the farmer, and what part of the value chain is already electronic, which is not, why is it not, what are the bottlenecks and all that. So it took us a fair amount of time to do that research and then bake the platform in such a way. So yeah, I mean, I can go on and on. There are many such instances in the course of DGV funding. That is one of the primary tasks the founder has. And every time I look at the bank account and I say, all is well, all is well. I have had my own fair set of challenges, but um, I think every time I touch the last few lakhs is when I raise my next fund, and then again like that. So it's become like the adventure bike ride that you just love to go down the slope and you want to again just go up and bounce back. Uh, so that's where I am and DG.
That's very interesting. Were you also the type of person to do last minute studying then? Because this is like last
Oh
minute.
yes, but that has I never thought those traits will come in will,
But I thought about
to
immediately.
become an author. Yeah, so yes, very much. I actually discovered through my own self introspection that what actually helped me sane in this entire ride. There were two, three things. One, maybe you know, so I thanks to my parents and I toured across India. So my father was, for he's changed number of jobs. He was an economist. He was with the for some time with the former planning commission. So I got to see a lot of India and got used to various cultures. That was one. The second was uh, the ability to improvise. So as a child, I was often made to do a lot of tasks independently, like go and play cricket matches, plus create your own team. I
Mm.
remember I was in Delhi, they had stopped burning the effigy of the, uh, you know, you in Dashera, you burn the effigy. So
Ravan Chaturthi.
we went and pooled money in the apartments. We created our own small effigy, Ravana effigy, stuffed it with all crackers, and we burnt it. Yeah, some of these things have helped me improvise, but yeah. And then, of course, working with the likes of Nandan and all. When I had the
Right.
channel in PCI, that
Mm.
was a different set of challenges. I worked with a great set of intellectuals and visionary people, which helped me mold myself. I worked with Aruna Sundarajan during building the Common Service Center network. She's right now on our board as well. I was deputed to Niti Aayog during my IDSC stint to help during the demonetization time, all the district collectors to understand digital payments. And so there are many, many instances which really helped me shape up and be ready for this entrepreneurship.
Yeah, it sounds you were growing up to become an entrepreneur at the end. I'm going to pass it on to Utsav to ask questions that he has.
So Raghavan, personally, Rijiv is very interesting because my hometown is Anand in Gujarat, and I
Oh,
studied at a
fantastic.
school which was sponsored by NDDB and Amul. So the moment I got to know that I'm speaking to someone at DGV, my interest immediately shot up because I'm like I have some glimpse of what this entire ecosystem and economy looks like, and
Correct.
in whatever time I grew up there and spent there, I have seen lives being transformed by this industry
Yeah.
firsthand.
Yeah.
So my question to you really is, when you think of working with a sector which contributes to 5% of India's GDP, but is still underserved, right? How do you think of impact? How do you think of the idea that the work DGV is doing? How does it really lead to last mile impact?
No, so clearly, see, we chose this sector because we love to work with semi-urban and rural communities. And often when you work with this set of community, impact is a direct byproduct. So we don't, so for us, we create the ecosystem. We try to simplify the entire experience in such a way that all the stakeholders benefit. Why Amul is such a great success is because some basic principles are still intact. A large part of the contribution should go back to the farmer. Amul, in fact, is very proud to say that 75% of the MRP of the milk or the value-added products which get created come back to the farmer, uh, in some form, which is what helps them do more. Um, in a similar way, whenever you're building anything for a rural and semi-urban community, all the stakeholders, like our lenders, our banking partners, they have to make money. The farmer has to make money. Uh, the tech providers or the fintech and the marketplace has to make money. All the stakeholders have to benefit. Uh, and the benefit can be in different ways, like a bank, which finds it very difficult to do the priority sector lending, is also getting beautifully addressed in this entire equation. At the same time, is able to build a book, at the same time is able to create a franchise without being physically present with a bank branch at the hinterland, using the technology what DGB has created. The farmers need not go and break their head with a bank branch, brick and mortar branch. They get today doorstep banking, they get doorstep access to loans in the most digital way. Just to give you a point, like say for example, before DGB came in, the entire industry used to talk of cattle loans. You ask any banker, do you do cattle loan? They will say they will nod their head. Do you finance buffaloes also? They will nod their head. But the best part is the cattle is only synonymous with cows, whereas they may even finance the buffalo. They should call it bovine. So even the right from the nomenclature to the entire product and process construct is something which DGV has re-engineered or reimagined. So we started calling it bovine loan. We started calling it digital bovine loan. So what typically took a farmer 60 days to get a cattle loan, today DGV is in a position to do the digital bovine loan in a matter of 30 minutes. So the TAT is like nowhere comparable. Why is that the case? Because today we are leveraging the digital dairy footprints which the farmer is leaving. What is that like? Let's say, for example, how many liters they poured, what is the consistency with their pour, what is the association with the dairy process. These are all valuable data points which we are able to synthesize. How are we able to synthesize? Because we are integrated with those ERP providers, the dairy processor. We take all the pain, irrespective of the complexity on that side, we integrate with all of them. We also created the product and process in such a way that the bank on the other side is able to beautifully underwrite this loan using our tech, which is what has made this possible. If before DGV came in, a farmer will go to the bank branch, will have to do the selling themselves. I want a cattle loan. I want to buy 3 cattle. The branch manager is liberty to ask all kinds of questions. From where will you get the cattle? Why him only, and so on and so forth. So cut to first understanding whether they are eligible. By the time they know they are eligible, 30-35 days goes by, and another 35 days gets added to get the loan. Cut to DGV that we enter them in our system. In the first 5 minutes, they get to know whether they are eligible or not. If they are eligible, what is the quantum they are eligible for? If suppose they are eligible for say 1.5 lakhs, then we ask them, why don't you purchase the bovine on our marketplace, which is called DGV Connect. They're able to go just like it's like the OLX of the livestock world. You can go there and see, okay, the best of Murrah buffalo, the best of Gir cow, the best of Sahiwal cow. These are all different breeds which are getting sourced either within Gujarat or across India. Some of the top breeders are there on our marketplace, and we are working with the entire ecosystem. So it's become like you discover it on DGV Connect, you get it funded on DGV money, which is our bespoke LOS talking to the bank, and the collections of the loan happen at the Middle Society using DGV Pay. That's why they integrated dairy fintech and a market.
Right. And it's amazing that sort of, you have taken care of the entire process or the value chain, as to say. right? Because I think the moment you have that kind of ownership, it really helps you streamline everything. Otherwise, if you're just playing in one part, you are dependent on the rest of the ecosystem to come together to do the right thing. Um, it's been this is your fifth year, right? Or 4 years, depending on how we look at the pandemic. But wanted to understand that from here, right? And as I understand, you are currently concentrated in Gujarat, right? What does impact look like for you in the coming years, right? What are the kind of ambitions you have for DGV, and what would it mean for the end farmer or the cattle owner who benefits from a service like this?
No, clearly. So Gujarat was our main test bed. I'm very happy to say in this financial year itself, we have entered into Andhra Pradesh. Just like Gujarat, Amul, we did in Andhra Pradesh, AP Amul, and the banks, set of banks there, which is the cooperative banks, which are now using our latest tech to empower them. So this, we are actually empowering both the banks in Andhra as well as the processor. In Karnataka, we have partnered with the unions under the Karnataka Milk Federation called Nandini. So we have started in Chamarajanagar and in the Mysore area already. So by 31st of March 2024, we should be present in 4 states, including Telangana, in a small way. And our plan is to get to the top 12 milk producing states by 31st of March 2025. So now that all the platforms are fairly set and are close to their inflection point, now we want to go across the entire canvas. So all kinds of processors we work with the farmer producer companies. So NDDB has its a subsidiary called NDDB Dairy Services. We'll be working with all our platforms for the milk producer companies. We'll be working with the cooperatives, the like of Amul, Nandini, like that you will have in Andhra Pradesh, AP Amul. In Tamil Nadu, you'll have Amen. You will have in Madhya Pradesh, Sanchi. In Rajasthan, Saras, and so on and so forth. So there's the cooperative milk movement. There is the farmer producer movement, and then there are private sector dairies. Like you have the Heritage, you have many other the private sector dairy, Hadson, and all. So irrespective of the processor, we will work with all kinds of, as long as there is a dairy farmer and a dairy micro enterprise involved, it's of interest.
Raghavan, thank you so much for taking time for this conversation. We really appreciate it, and all the wishing you all the very best. Your expansion plan sounds really honestly logical and focused. That focusing on 12 milk producing states, getting there and building your stronghold. Wishing you all the very best, and thank you again so much for your time today.